child from the parent, and you want me to guard the parent? Where's the evidence that this child and parent need to be separated? Did anybody ask that? No. Nobody asked. Nobody wants to ask. So,
well, you do know that he's now with his grandparents,
right,
but
right.
they won't let Michelle see him without her being supervised to see her own child.
So you mean even at Grandma's house, Michelle needs a supervisor to go see her own child?
Yes, she has to have supervised visits to go to her parents' home to see. And I don't even know if they allow her. I didn't get into that detail with her. If they have to meet at a neutral location or if she's even allowed to go to their home. But whenever she sees Isaiah, even though he's living with her parents now, they have temporary custody of him in Kansas City, she has to be supervised to see him. Because of the seriousness of the charges they leveled against her and are trumping up against her.
That is, I can only
and get this one. I mean, it gets even worse. Get this. So they finally let him go to family, which is it's supposed to be family first in all these things. You know, after months in an unsafe place in Dalton, Illinois, where he felt his life was in danger a lot, and it was just a terrible situation. And he had his prescription medication stolen from him, probably because they were selling them in the neighborhood to other people, illegally. Anyway, after they finally get him out of there and let him go live with the grandparents, he was transferred on September 15th, I believe was the date.
Yeah.
He finally got there. Her parents live in a different school district than she does. So there's all this rigmarole they have to go through to try to get him to go to his high school, even though he's in his last year of high school.
Does anybody care about the child? I hate to call him a child, but I mean in this case, I mean is anybody
nobody in Illinois seems to care about Isaiah, and they took him away from the person who really does. And they so traumatized him. They have stolen Isaiah and his mother's life from them for the last. It's been a little over 5 months that all this has been going on. Not quite 6 months, but they've stolen that part of their life. And there's going to be things that take years to overcome the trauma, the things he went through in the foster facility. I mean, it's unbelievable. They now have to try to get their lives back. And also, they've accused her of medical abuse, and she's a nurse with a nursing license that does home health care. It's going to be hard for her to get a job just because of the accusation, because with nurses, you got to prove yourself innocent before you can have another patient.
I know exactly. Now, what is she supposed to do now? I mean, after this is over.
And the other thing is, this is so time-consuming and so difficult and so expensive. The travel back and forth, and the lawyers and the experts, and the traveling expenses and all of that. I mean, and she can't work because it takes up so much of her time just to try to prove her innocence and get reunited with her son. They've just got so much to make up for, and that's the other reason why. I mean, even if people could go donate $10, $20, anything they could give so that she could at least mount a decent defense when you've got the state of Illinois and Lurie's Children's Hospital that have virtually unlimited resources.
Now, I put that in the chat room. That's the second link that I put in the chat room. It's GoFundMe.com. That's GoFundMe, all one word, .com/Save Isaiah, one word. So that's www.gofundme.com/Save Isaiah. On there, you could give $5, give $1. Team Isaiah, you can buy a hat. Anything that you can do. If you think of $5, you think that's not very much, let me tell you, it is. It is. $5 add up. $5 adds up. If everybody gave $5 in this country, I mean, just think about it. I know $5, and not everybody's going to give $5. But if you think $5 is too little, you're wrong. Give what you can, and if you can give more, because the next one's going to be you. The next child is going to be yours. So we need everybody on board. I don't know what we can really do to combat this. We've got lawyers that don't want to get involved because it is that big. This is a huge machine that is involved in this, and no one wants to admit that they screwed up because a lot of people are going to have to go to jail for this. I mean, this is the stuff the Nazis did, and I hate to compare this with Nazism, but they did. They took mentally retarded kids. They took children away from their parents because the parents were telling them other than Nazism, and that's exactly what they did. They got to separate the child from the parents so they can indoctrinate him. This still, I don't know if you know anything about Agenda 21, New World Order, but this is all part of it. And it's all part of separating the family unit. That's all part of Agenda 21, which is our country signed on to it with the UN. And this stuff is real. This president here is going out of his way to make sure that this Agenda 21 is implemented into this country. And it's more and more. And I got a town just right next to me where they're already building these big high-rises. They want to put on these massive cities. They just want to have these big, giant cities, only a certain amount of cities, and they want everybody crammed in there, and the rest of the land is for the animals, and you're not allowed to touch it. I mean, it's just sick stuff that human beings are doing just for control, just for power. And that's one thing I don't understand about human beings. I swear to God, I got to have a different kind of animal in me. I don't understand that whole concept of always wanting to have control and power over people. I'm having enough trouble having control and power over myself, much less trying to get somebody else.
Well, on another day, we could talk all about the Agenda 21 and the stuff for the child that they're pushing through with that. Now, the U.S. has never signed on to the actual treaty, but what they've been very clever about this. They have gone to local communities, cities, municipalities, counties, and gotten them to implement it so that they don't have to sign on to the treaty.
And they have the money if you sign on to it. That's what people do.
Oh, yeah, they dangle money, and then they take that away after you're sucked into it and you've enacted all these ordinances in your area. Yeah, another day we'll have to get into this. But, yes, there's a lot with how we're supposed to raise our children that's in that, as well as shoving us all into the corridors of living space and giving the animals the rest of the country. But anyway, I would like to, besides for people who are donating, besides they can go to the website that you gave, and it has a PayPal option, or you can enter your credit card and you can give anonymously. But there's some people who just like to write checks and not like to deal with anything over the internet. I have the P.O. Box is Team Isaiah, P.O. Box 901294, Kansas City, Missouri 64190.
Yeah, that's the address that I give out every night. I sent a check in. They got it. She got it within a couple of days, so it's a legitimate address. It's not a phony address. And Michelle called me or messaged me, and she actually got it. So it does go right to Michelle. She does see it. She does know it's there. So
right, and all the money she's getting goes to legal expenses. There's fees and costs, and then also the traveling back and forth to Chicago, and now that she's in a trial, there's days that she needs a hotel. There's going to be witnesses that need a hotel to stay, and it's not inexpensive. If anybody has airline points or reward points that people could use for air tickets or hotel, they could donate that too.
Really?
And by getting in touch with someone on Team Isaiah, which is the Facebook page, or by sending a note to Team Isaiah at the P.O. Box, we certainly that would be great too, because there's lots of needs right now, And like I said, they've got millions, and Michelle, is of modest means and also now doesn't have a job, so makes it even more difficult to wage this war against the Goliaths that are beating her down.
I don't know how that girl is doing it. I don't know how Lou and his wife Pelletier held up. I don't know how without literally. I would be freaking out. I would be in jail for assault. That's just me. How these people can do it, I got to tip my hat to these people. I think they're stunned. I think they're scared. I think they're confused. What's happening? Why is this happening? And it happens so quick they don't even realize it, and boom, it's done. And that's what they did to Michelle. They never gave her an opportunity. She had no idea they were taking her son away until after he was already gone. And he had no idea they were doing it until he was already gone, too. But
right, and then the other thing that they do is then they think they're above the law and they don't have to follow any of the rules. So even though when they took him, it was court ordered that she would get supervised visits, they did not let any of those happen for another 24 days. And their excuse was, we don't have anybody to come supervise you at the hospital.
Well, it was only supposed to be
ridiculous.
for 48 hours. Originally, she was told they were going to be separated for 48 hours. It ended up being, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever it was. But now this next case here, I want to get into this because I got a chance to read just a little bit of it before the show, and I am already into Deep Space Nine. I'm hot right now, and I'm sweating profusely because I'm just thinking about it. Just really irritates me. My blood pressure gets very hot very quickly, and what they're doing. Let's get into this Justice for the Sisters. Now, these are two girls, right?
Correct.
I think 11 or 10 and 11 years old. Now, why were they separated? I know they have autism. I know the father. He went in there with a scale because they were losing weight. I mean, they've lost their body fat. They've lost their body mass. So the father goes in there with a scale, and the mother told the girl to hang in there and be tough, and and they got to remove. I mean, what was their reason? Is it medical neglect with them too? Why are
medical
they
abuse again? Yes, it started out. Before the scale and that was after they'd already taken the girls. But about the same time as Illinois took Isaiah, the girls back in the spring, they were in Phoenix Children's Hospital. And have you noticed the theme of all these? Justina was in Boston Children's. Isaiah was in Lurie's Children's. These two girls were in Phoenix Children's Hospitals. There's something seriously wrong with children's hospitals at this point in time. But anyway, they were both there because they have complicated medical problems. In addition, as you mentioned, they have diagnosed disabilities and are children with special needs that have, should have individual educational plans at their schools, and they're got a lot of things going on. But these children both had ports and tubes directly into their gastric system because their stomachs weren't working properly. And the doctors at Phoenix Children's are the ones who recommended and put in these gastric tubes, okay? So the mother they're having complications, and the mother, even though she and the father are divorced, but the mother is really guiding and doing the medical stuff.
Did they get sick at
with
the same
kids.
time?
And she goes in and
the two
says,
daughters.
There's complications again, like complications as there were with Isaiah. There's complications and problems and issues, and so she's like, I want another doctor. I want, things. I want a second opinion. I want you to do a better job. Something's not right here. Something's going wrong, as any parent would when they see their children suffering and things aren't working right. And so she demanded a second opinion, and she also then, the doctor was doing things that made her concerned. She fired the girls' doctor, the GI doctor that the girls had, and was getting another doctor, and I think she had to go through insurance and stuff because, insurance makes you jump through hoops for all this kind of stuff anyway. So before she could get the new doctor on, the doctor she fired called Child Protective Services and turned her in that she was abusing the girls medically.